Hola.
Hola, how are you?
I'm good. Good.
Oh, hola.
Who's there?
Evening. Hello.
Good. Tomorrow's Daf is at 7, and the Navi Shir's at 8.
Yes.
Okay. We are on 88.
Mhm.
Peches. Chatas ha'of, psuleichi mazamidama. We said that, if a korban becomes puzzle, but it's on the Mizbeach, you can leave it there. The question is, Chatas ha'of, you have to do as, you have to do a Zrika Saddam. Now, the moment you lift it up from the Mizbeach, so we said if the airspace of the Mizbech is a different domain than the Mizbech itself, then Havale Yarud. Then by just lifting it up, you've removed it. And you would not be able to sprinkle it anymore. Sharp Sulamechizark and the other korbanos that also have to have Zrika, once they're up there, how do you do the Zrika? The Gemara says, Demagalahu. You keep the bird in contact with the Mizbech. For the Ha'azoi, is that considered sprinkling? It's mitsui. If you're keeping it in contact, you're pressing, not doing zrika. And hazrika shvicha, you're pouring. The od derech hazabakach, derech zribakach. Is this the normal way of sprinkling? So on Ravashi, eat if in a chanami the person was on top of the mizbeach, we'd have this problem. But kiko amar titlina bekananyu. We're talking about you're standing on the azara and you're holding on to these things with a stick in the airspace of the Mizbeach. Then the question is, my. So, Teku, we have no answer. Mishnah. Kli alach mekachin salah. You have kalim that collect fluids, like blood or yayin. You have kalim that collect flour. So, kli alach mekachin salah. They mekadesh fluid. Midas yavish mekachin sayavish. Measuring kalim that measure dry is mekadesh solid things, and it doesn't cross pollinate. Ein klei halach mekadesh es hayavesh, v'lo yavesh mekadesh es halach. Klei hakodesh shenikvu. If you have a hole in one of the kalim, im oisen ben meim lachton shayu oisen ein shleimim. If you can continue working with them, then mekadshin. Ve'im lavein mekadshin. If they don't work, they're not mekadesh. V'kulan in mekadshin al b'kodesh. It only works if you're standing in the azor. We're talking about measuring kalim, but kalim that you collect either blood or flour with aval mizrakos makachin, they can be makadish fluids as well as solids. Shenamar shneim lein solas. You can't learn from that pasuk because mincha is moist because it's got oil in it. How can you learn from here that one of these kalim can be makadish liquids or can be makadish solids? So we're talking about this mincha had a lot of dry pieces in it, and yet it's makadishit. Or mincha legabidam kiyovish tami. That is, flour incomparable to blood is considered like yovish, and therefore we learn that it has the ability to makadish both. Amr Shmuel. Klei shorts and makachin el shleimim. The kli has to be sholem. If they got a hole in it, whatever, they can't be makadish. And makachin el mlein. It has to be full. In mekachel means toichan. It's only the inside of a kli, but not either above it or on the side of it. Shmuel included all of these criteria in one statement. My binayu. Let's say you have a kli that, and then you have like a mound above the kli, excess above the rim of the kli. So according to the first version, it's only what's inside the kli, but anything above that line is not going to be miskadish. According to the second, it'll be makadosh both. B'masnisa tana, ein mekachel l'shleimin mleim mitochen b'bifnim. Has to be inside the azora. The kli has to be sholem and full. Arav Asir Rav Yechno, lo yishon l'shein daitu lo yisi. This is only, you have no intention of adding anything more. Aval daitu lo yisi, rishon kodesh. Each amount that you put in will be miskadesh. Tana mahachi, malayin, aim lein l'shleimin. The kli has to be intact. Rav Yossi, aim asai, bisman shein daitu lo yisif, as long as you don't have intent to add. Aval daitu lo yisif, rishon kodesh. And every time you keep on adding, it'll be miskadesh. Then the Mishnah said, ein kli alach mekadesh, a vessel that holds fluids cannot be mekadesh solid, and vice versa. Amaravi temeravasi, ein mekachin likore. They cannot become miskadesh to offer them on the mizbeach. Aval mekachin liposel, to be miskadesh so that if the teful yom touches it, to make it invalid, that it is miskadesh. Others say that comment is on the following price. Ein meviyim menachos, unsachim, you can't bring a mincha, wine, minchas behema, a mincha that comes along with an animal, bikurim, mina meduma. If you have some truma mixed in with chulin. Ve'ein tzarich loymar, me'or lo klakera. You can't bring it from the first 3 years of a fruit tree or klakarim and hybrid. V'mevi lo kidesh. And if you did, the kli is not miskadesh it. Amravitem ravasi, lo kidesh likore. You can't offer it. Aval kidesh liposel can become sanctified so that if a teful yom touches it, it becomes invalid. Torabon. Klei kodesh shenikvu. You have a kli that has a hole. Ein matichin osa. You can't sort of try to fix it by melting it. Ve'masichin l'torchan aver. You can't take lead and melt it in there to fill the hole. Nifgemuf, they're damaged. Ein mesaknin osa, you can't fix it. Sakin shenifgam, if the knife had a pigim on it, like where it was making trefus, ein mashchizin es pigimosa. You cannot sand it. Nishmita, if the metal fell out of the wood, ein machzir nosa. You don't return it. All of because the Beis HaMikdash is a place of wealth, so we don't use secondhand repaired things in the Beis HaMikdash. Abishol Omer, Sakin Matrefes HaMikdash. There was a knife that had made a number of animals treif. V'nimnu ale kohanim uganzua. The kohanim voted and they buried it. Torah Big Day Kuna in Oisno Somasa Machat. Big Day Kuna was woven. You didn't use a needle. Elamaisa Oirek. Sheneamar Maisa Oirek. Nizgaluf, they become dirty. We didn't use special detergents to wash them. It's considered a loath is zilzul. There's no ashirus. There's no aniyas b'mokam ashirus. You get rid of it and make new ones. So the Gemara is medayik habemayim mechapsim. What? So water you can't use? Rabbi Achikomar. Huku b'mayim. If they're dirty to the point where water alone could clean it, no, then you can. They're not very dirty. Then you could use even detergent. Hugul and oil. If they got dirty to the point where you need detergent, so then you can't do anything. Then you can't wash it even with water. You never launder. She'ein aniyas b'makam ashiris. Otherwise, it would be a manifestation of poverty. Torah Rabbon. Me'il kulo shel tcheles haya. The me'il was made out of wool, and it was purple. Shenemar klil tcheles. Vayasis mila efod klil tcheles. Shulav Ketzid. What about the hems? Maybe tcheles for agamon v'solah shani shazurim. You would bring tcheles, which is this, I guess, blue. The argamon purple. V'solah shani, wool that's red, that's multiply. They were fashioned in the shape of a pomegranate. Like children would wear these on their heads, like a cone. And they brought 72 bells. They had 72 clappers inside the bell. The toilet, they were hung on the bottom of the me'il. Shloishim v'shisha b'tzida zeh, 36 on one side, shloishim v'shisha mitzad zeh. Rab Dois Omer Mishum Rab Yehuda, shloishim v'shisha hayu, there were only 36. Shmona Esrei mitzad zeh, Shmona Esrei mitzad zeh. 18 on either side. Amar Vinyani bar Sosan k'machloikes kan, kach machloikes b'maris negoim. The different shades of color of Nagoim, Saras, Tisnan, Maris Nagoim, Rab Doisa ben Rukinis Omer Lamed Vav. He says there are 36. There's 72 shades of color. Verma Vinyani Bar Sosa. Lamanis one Parshas Korbanis La Parshas Big Day Kahuna. Why is the Big Day Kahuna Parsha next to the Korbanis? Lo Emerlecha. Ma Korbanis Mechaprin, of Big Day Kahuna Mechaprin. The Big Day Kahuna have the ability to atone. Ketonet, the shirt, the chaperes al shvichus dam, atones for murder, like it says in this week's parsha. Vayishchetu se'iri zim, the brothers, in faking Yosef's death, they shechted a goat. Vayitpeluas akutonas padam, and they dipped his toga in dam. Pants are mechaper for gilui arayos. It's obvious because pants cover the genitalia area. Shenemar vaselehem michdasevad lechasos psar erva. Covers the area of the erva. Mitznefes mechaper al gas ruach. The strimal, they wore a turban that is mechaper for haughtiness. Minayin, yod yavod davar shebegoiva, something that you wear on the highest part of your body, yichaper al goiva, and it will atone for haughtiness. Avnei, the belt, is mechaper al hir alev, is mechaper if you have impure thoughts. Heichad is because that's where the belt is. Right near the heart. Choishen mechaper ladinim. Choishen, when justice is not served, so the choishen is mechaper. Shnemar, v'yasiz choishen mishpat. Ephod, the apron, mechaper lavodas kochavim for avodah zor. Shnemar, ein ephod utrafim. Me'il, which makes noise, mechaper loshen hara. Minayin, amrachadin yovad dor shebekol. When the Kohen Gadol would walk, you would hear the bells. V'chapra kol hara, the chirping of people gossiping. Tzitz v'chapra lazus panim. Like your chutzpahdik, and that's mechaper. B'tzitz ksiv hayam meitzachar. Uvazus panim ksiv umeitzach isha zona hayalach. That means you're not easily shamed. The Gemara says, Eini is shvichus damim and lashon hara Mechaper by these. V'amar Rav Yeshua ben Levi. Shnei dvarim lo matzinu lem kapar b'korbanos. There are two averis. There are no korbanos in mechaper. Umatzin lo kapar b'makom acher. They get atonement through something else. Eluain. Shvichus dami v'loshen hara. Shvichus dami megla rufa. Right? The decapitated calf. If you find a dead body between two towns, you measure to the closest city, and that city has to bring an egla rufa. So that's the mechanism of kapara. And v'loshen hara miktoires. The burning of the ktoiris is mechaper for loshen hara. The Tani Rav Chananya. Minay lektor shemechaperes. Shenemar vayitenis lektoris vaychaper la'am. Aaron HaKohen in Bamidbar, this was after the battle against Korach, there was a plague, and Aaron HaKohen burnt incense and stopped the plague. Al maktos bechaperes aloshon hara. Yover dover shebeshachai, yover dover shebechashai. Let something that is done unseen. For example, the Ktores is offered only in the Heichal. Nobody could see it being offered. V'yichaper al masach shai. Lashon hara is also told in private. So we have a kasha lashon hara, lashon hara. Here it says that Ktores is mechaper for lashon hara. And the previous Gemara said the me'il. Also, we said that the kutones is mechaper for shvichus damim, and now we brought that the egla rufa is kasha shvichus damim. Loi kasha hadidei manktale. When you know the identity of the person who was killed, then the kutones is mechaper. But when you don't know, you don't even know. If you don't know who the murderer is, then you do the egla rufa. The Gemara doesn't understand. What do you mean the ketonet is mechaper if you know who murdered? If you know who murdered Bar Ketola, you're supposed to put him to death. So the Gemara answers, b'mezi v'lasrube. Yeah, he did it b'mezi, but there were no asra, so you can't put him to death. So he gets kapara through the wearing of the ketonet. Lashon hara nami lo kasha habitzina. When the lashon hara is spoken privately, then the ketaris, which is offered privately, is mechaper. But if the lashon hara is spoken openly, publicly, then the me'il that makes noise, b'farhestia will be mischaper. Hadlacha amizbech b'kadesh. Okay, tomorrow we early Daf at 7:00.
Yeah.
And the Navi Shir at 8:00.
Okay. Go ahead. Good job.
Navi Shir,
Shabbos.
we're in the middle
Good
of
Shabbos.
we're in the middle of Perek Gimel, so we'll finish Perek Gimel and we'll do probably a little bit of Perek Dal.
Very good. Shabbos.